All right, welcome into the all-new KFYR Plus, and it's our debut of the Bigger Picture podcast. I know we're missing one podcaster right now, but let me introduce at least two of the three players in the podcast. We've got Heather and Jody in with us this morning. Good morning, girls. How are you?
Good morning.
Oh, here comes Hope.
I was going to say we are already experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah, there she is. All right. Now we've got all the players involved with the Bigger Picture podcast. So let's just tell the listeners, or I should say the viewers now, that what kind of led us down the road for the Bigger Picture podcast. I know, I think it was last month that Hope it was that said, hey, you know what? We should really do a podcast and maybe you could moderate. And I thought that is a great idea. What do you got? We got a great platform here at KFYR Plus to, I guess, kind of get out and talk about things that not only affect you, but affect the viewers as well in everyday lives. So I think it's a great idea. So if you guys want to maybe, I don't know, introduce yourselves first of all and get the ball rolling, we'll start with you, Hope.
Okay, hello. I'm going to blame Jody for the reason that we are doing this because I can't remember how this all started, but we've been talking about it for so long, and Jay has been our gift. We had been waiting for it to bring this to fruition. So thank you, Jay, for being the catalyst to all this finally happening. My name is Hope. I'm assistant news director here. I anchor in the mornings. I do North Dakota Today. And I also just have a real great friendship with Heather and Jody. And we talk about all these things anyway. So I think that's kind of the idea of bringing these conversations to a bigger platform.
All right. And Jody, I'll let you go second.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it probably is my fault. Hope and Heather and I tend to talk about things, great, crazy ideas, and we talk and talk and talk. And then we find someone like you, Jay, to help them become a reality. So yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time. I'm Jody, and I am in my second go round at KFYR TV. It was my first job out of college for almost 14 years. And then I took a few years off to raise my babies, and well, they're all teenagers and adults now and don't really need me, so I'm back.
Jody, I have to say, I saw a photo of you. I don't know if it was Twitter or Facebook or something last night. That was a nice hairdo you had.
Yeah, if there was a picture of Heather too, so if we could talk about Heather for a minute. If I could look like that again, though, oh my gosh, 20 years, a lot changes, right?
Yeah, that's sure, you're right.
Heather.
Oh, there's Heather.
The hair. It was. I said everyone had the short, flippy hair back then. But yes, I'm Heather. I too am on my second go round.
Okay.
See. KFYR was my first job out of college too. I was there. It's been like 20 years now, which I can't even believe. And then we did some moving around. I actually worked for some other TV stations, and I am a producer, otherwise known as Producer Heather, because we are so very creative when it comes to titles. But yeah, and same as what Hope and Jody already said, we talk about this stuff all the time. And I think somebody said, you know what, guys, we are just really not busy enough. Our kids they're not keeping us busy. Work is not keeping us busy. We should really do something else. But that's okay. This is fun, right? Like this is going to be the thing that we probably most look forward to. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. Lots of topics to cover. So I do have to ask you, ladies, is this the first, I know this is the debut on KFYR Plus, but have you put together an audio podcast, or is this the first one going forward?
We found one opportunity for all of us to get our crazy schedules together. It was on a weekend, so we tested out our ability to talk through these things. And I think what we found is we have a lot to talk about. Our jobs are in the news. These headlines are something that we're reporting constantly and figuring out how to bring to viewers. As parents, for all of us, they also impact our own lives. And so we have a lot to talk about. The challenge was finding the right medium to bring it to people. So this would be the first time other people can hear the conversations that we're having. together.
Very, very cool. All right. Well, we've got lots of time here. So let's start off with something that we all have in common, and that is the ACT, SAT. Now, you may have heard in some news reporting that is it even relevant? Heather, what say you on that?
So this story caught my eye. Maya, one of our local reporters, just did this yesterday, and it starts for North Dakota. It doesn't take effect until late summer, like August 1st is when it's gonna, because the pandemic, right? So nobody was
Mm-hmm.
taking standardized tests anymore. Colleges and universities said, "No, cool, we'll waive it," and then it just kind of stuck, and it stayed with it. So now the question is, why do we want to have our children still take these tests? It's super stressful. I believe, I'm trying to remember, you still have to pay for it, right? I mean, so it's yet something else that you have to worry about. But what Maya's story made before, there are two really good reasons why you should take the ACT or SAT as a college, junior or high school, junior, senior. And one is for scholarships, and another is for course placement in college, so that once you get there, you're not in advanced, math or science or whatever, if that's not what your forte is. So I thought those were two really interesting things. I have a high school freshman right now, so we're still a year or two out. I feel like that buys me a little time where I can, like, what are kids going to do in the next year or two? But Jody, you have a little bit older than that, right? So what do you guys do?
Yeah, and so I have two that are, one's done with college, one will be done in May, and I remember the stress and the anxiety, and I remember it myself too, right? Taking the ACT, like it was just a test anxiety. Um, and all my kids are so different. I have a sophomore now, so next year at this time they'll be taking it, and at Bismarck Public Schools they offer a day, um, a school day for every junior to take it, which is great. We didn't have that opportunity when I was in high school. um, yeah, but I think there's just some major test anxiety, and I think, um, not all kids. We've kind of changed our thoughts on college. Not everybody needs a 4-year degree, and I think we're learning that more and more and more, that a 4-year college is right for some kids. I mean, my son definitely, absolutely, he probably should stay in school and get his master's or his doctorate or something, because school is just his thing, right? But that's not every kid. I have my youngest, I don't know that she needs to go to a 4-year college. So I think it's great to have some options. I think our sophomore will take it, because I think college is in her future, and scholarships are huge. We need those, right? So yeah, it's something that I guess I need to follow really closely in the next year, so we know what the heck we're doing.
And Hope, how about you? Any personal feelings on the testing?
Okay, so here's where my kids are at. I am this week signing my 4-year-old up for kindergarten.
Oh,
And my 1-year-old just
take a
started.
moment.
So yes, it's a big week in my house. But so clearly we are not at the moment. The ACT and SATs, and I viscerally remember that test taking experience. I was not a good test taker, and lots of kids are not. It's not always a great measurement of your aptitude in school. So I love the idea, as Jody's saying, for more options to consider a student's abilities in other ways, and we're getting more well-rounded, I think, as we go on. But Heather makes a great point in that the more well-rounded we get in understanding where everybody's coming from, what their potential could be in going to school, the more difficult it gets to figure out how to fit them in the right class, to award them the right scholarship, who is more worthy for something like that. I think that needs to be more people involved in the conversation to figure out how everything related to school would be impacted as we take away those standards for evaluating one person against the next. And because I have a kindergartner, we're practicing, we're trying to get ready to start public school. And we're practicing these things, and we're going through lesson plans. And I'm learning, she's brand new to this, but she may not be the type of learner that every other kid in her class is going to be. And we're going to get a lot more in depth than that as the next year goes on. But I just am starting to see the very beginning of it. And I wonder by the time they go to college, what situation we're going to be in.
And
Sure.
I think about too, we are specifically dealing with pandemic school children, right? Like again, with an eighth grader and he's not eighth grade, he's ninth grader and a seventh grader, but still, I mean, they were in like the thick of like really learning the foundations when everything just, blew apart. And so I feel like we're struggling with that too, like coming back in and learn. I mean, it's been obviously a year or so, but they really missed some significant time. And so yeah, no, I don't think that one test fits all, especially now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree
Just
with you.
yesterday, I'll add just a little bit more to it. I was watching an interview that we did on North Dakota Today yesterday with Sylvan Learning Center. They were talking about the learning slide that happened during the pandemic and how math, especially, was one area where scores really suffered because that is a building block. You have to learn one lesson to move on to the next one, to move on to the next. And when you have that chunk of time taken out from the pandemic, it's gonna have a significant impact on your learning. It's different for other subjects, but my maths SAT score, I don't even want to talk about.
You know,
Same.
and that's interesting because my youngest was in fourth grade when school went online, and that was the thing that, I mean, we went round and round about these. I don't know how to do fourth grade math. Like, I just,
We're
it's not my
writers.
thing. Math is
We're
not
English
my
people.
thing, and my husband's real good at math, right? But he was at work. So it was me trying to teach her math. And to this day, seventh grade math is very hard for her. And it's probably my fault because I didn't do a good job. I mean, we Zoomed with my sister, who is a teacher. We FaceTimed with her brother, who's very good at math. But she just, yeah, definitely that not having that in person, I think, for someone who maybe struggled with math anyway, and then you have your mom teaching you who can't teach math. Yeah.
Well, that's a
Tough.
good segue, Jody, into our next topic, which would include virtual learning and working from home. A day like today is perfectly suited for this type of platform. What are your thoughts on virtual learning? As you said, you get some time with the teacher online, but once you close down the computer, well, it's now you and mom and dad sitting at the kitchen table learning things. So I'll let you, Jody, start with that. What's your thoughts on virtual learning and also working from home?
So we are in a virtual learning day today. It's not a very nice start to the month of March here. And so my girls are home, and it's just kind of goes back, I think, to that, what I said earlier. Each kid is so different. My sophomore self-starter, I don't need to check on her at all. I just know she's going to get everything done, right? My seventh grader, we went through her Google Classroom and she read me every subject, and I helped her make a list of what the class was, what the assignment is, what the due date, due time. Some are due at 3:30 today, some are due at 11:59, some are due tomorrow. So we wrote all that down, and then she needs to go back and prioritize in the list of what she needs to do when. And I haven't checked on her for about an hour, so I think she might have been making breakfast when I came downstairs to do this. So that might not be a good sign for her schoolwork today. But on the flip side, like I miss those old-fashioned snow days. My older kids didn't really get a lot of those. Bismarck just has, for years, didn't have a lot of snow days. I kind of miss that for them, that they don't get a day where they get to just watch TV, right?
Oh,
But
for
I
sure.
also am a fan of summer, and they don't want to go to school in June, right? We want every single warm day possible at home. So I can see that side too. So we'll get through it, right? And thankfully I am able to work from home, and so I can kind of monitor that progress a little bit. I mean, the things that we learned in the pandemic, right? They're not going away. We learned how to work remotely. We learned how to do school remotely, and this is the world that we live in.
Yeah. Now, Heather, you do a lot of work remotely, so I guess this is right up your alley. Working virtually is pretty standard for you, day in and day out, right?
Yes, I live in Arizona. I wonder if you could see the sunshine. Oh, it's so bright. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, it's actually not that sunny today.
We
It's a
love
little
you, Heather.
cloudy. I know. Um, so no, but yes, I do everything here, and all of the shows and shifts and everything that I do is all from an upstairs office, which I love. And I get a lot of people asking, but you don't get the interaction, and you don't have to get dressed in real clothes every day. You don't. I mean, like I get a lot of people who question like whether I really enjoy it. But for me, at this stage of my life, I love it. And I think that I couldn't have done it successfully with any other station except for KFYR, because I already had built in friends, and I already was trusted to be a good worker. And, so I think that there's a lot of those outside factors that you do have to be the right kind of worker to work from home, just like what Jody was saying about the children too. Like same with, there you are either a dedicated employee and you can log in and you can get your work done, or you're not. And that probably doesn't matter if you're at home or at work. But no, I mean, I think that online learning too, it has a place when we needed it during the pandemic. I think that it has a place when you have snow days. We don't have those here, snow days. Boy, oh boy, I am just trolling you today.
So funny.
I know, right?
But we have
I'll pass
we
it to Hope though.
yeah. So just real quick, like Heather, real quick, how long, Heather, have you been working remotely? Was it before the pandemic, or has it been since the pandemic?
Actually, no, it was after, because I had a different job that I actually lost, like right when the pandemic started. I was one of the bajillion people that were, that lost their job right when the pandemic started. But again, I think that that's how this happened, because I have such good connections and, trust and, all of that, that's how it started, was pretty much right after like the summer of 2020. So yeah, two
Yeah.
and a half years or so.
Okay.
But yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not looking back. Like I'm here, I'm good.
Yeah, I see you're trolling with the beautiful weather down there in Arizona, Heather. But I'm going to water my grass this spring and summer, and I'll have all the water I
Yeah.
need for.
Don't talk to me in July, August, September. That's when I hibernate, right? Like that's what I do. I don't go anywhere. We have all the blinds closed. It's dark. It's hot.
Yeah. Well, Hope, I know that you were saying that you were signing up your child for, is it kindergarten? For your, so the virtual learning, not quite yet, but talk to us about possibly. But really, working from home is really not something that you're able to do either.
No, that's not something we ever moved to, because a lot of my work is on camera. And while we
Yeah.
watched other stations around the country shift some of their on camera roles to home, we didn't do much of that here. So I'm still able to come in. I will experience, I'm sure, in the next year how virtual learning works for kindergartners, because I know those parents of young children really had the challenge of not getting that interaction for their kids in the classroom. But it also brings up another question to me, that we'll see how this pandemic ultimately affects and shapes kids' lives, the same way that we'll see how that gap in learning, in-person learning, will impact them as they go on. I think that the ability to learn virtually, whether you're doing that in college as you move on, or if you're working virtually, that requires a level of management of your time and ability to be responsible with your freedom that a lot of kids prior to the pandemic didn't get until they were in college and getting some online learning classes or something like that. So it seems to me like it could be an early training ground in that area. Do you guys know what I'm saying, Jody?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't like it. I would have been a horrible online student. I think I would be like my Morgan. I don't think I would be able to do it. I have kind of a hybrid now. Like I'm working from home, putting my story together at home today. I'll come in and do the 4, which to me is the perfect balance, right? A little bit of quiet, a little bit of um, at home. I can throw a load of laundry in if I need to, which you always need to. But then I get to get out and get my people fixed too. So yeah, I would have been. I couldn't do what you do, Heather. There's no way I could be home. And I have had jobs that have been at home in my little hiatus from KFYR, and I got a little lonely.
Yeah.
Well, I
think
always
this.
say, if I can do laundry during work, like winner, because like there's so much laundry.
So much. so much.
Yeah, I think the social aspect has a lot to do with that, being around your coworkers and maybe just feeding off ideas that they might have. I know that's what it was for me in my previous work life. Well, let's turn to coming up Friday, National Day of Unplugging. Are any of you planning, or maybe some of you might be Catholic and maybe you've already unplugged as a Lenten, maybe you gave that up for Lent, but anyway, Friday, unplugging. Will you do that, or maybe make any of your family members unplug? Hope?
This is one of those things we can blame producer Heather for guilting us into.
Such a long list. It's a long list.
Yes, thank you, Heather. Heather,
It's a book at this point.
Yeah. She let us know Friday is National Day of Unplugging, and boy, do I need that so badly in my house. I'm just, especially at this point in the winter when the weather is not great, although it should be improving by the end of the week, and there's not a lot that you want to do outside, and it is so easy to turn on all your streaming channels and to open your phone and stuff like that. I need it. I feel like my 4-year-old needs it. My 1-year-old likes Super Kitties on Disney Plus way too much. She shouldn't like it that much, but she squeals in laughter to it. So I think we have to figure out how to do that. And I am feeling major mom guilt that I haven't done enough of it so far this winter.
Yeah. Jody, how important is it to have a good balance of, let's say, social media, your TikToks or whatever it might be, Facebook, how important is it to have that as opposed to spending 4 or 5 hours a day on it, as some people do?
Yeah. Well, no TikTok for me. I have not. I maybe have it on my phone because I needed it for a story, but I don't. I don't do the TikTok. I do have teenagers who let me know when there's something funny that I need to see, and usually it is a cat video or something. I think it is a balance, right? Like everything in moderation. We depend. I mean, my phone's always in my hand, right? This is how I work. This is how I connect with people. How I shoot my video. How I stay in touch with high school friends, with my parents. I mean, it's here, right? But
Yep.
some of the best days to me, I mean, the girls and I, for years, the kids and I have taken a vacation just to the hills every summer for, 3 to 5 days. And I purposely pick the campground with no Wi-Fi and no cell service. And it is amazing. Like we all need that, right? Just, maybe once a day you're somewhere where you can check your messages and make sure everything's okay, but it's so refreshing. And will I unplug on Friday? Probably not, because I have to work, but this weekend, definitely looking forward to putting the phone away. And
Yeah.
I've started reading books again, and I read them on the Kindle, but to me that's different. That's a different screen. That's all I can do is read a book. And
Sure.
I can't wait for the weather to be warm so I can go sit outside in the sun and read a book and leave my phone in the house.
Heather, I know that it's impossible for you due to work to unplug, but social media or YouTube or whatever it might be, are you planning on, since it was your idea Friday, to just unplug, unwind,
Yes.
and
I mean, I guess I have to. I mean,
Hold on.
I do. I feel like I have actually gotten better with the whole social media thing. And I think it's because I just feel like I'm tired of it. Like, I love to see what my friends that I already probably know a little bit about what is in their life. I love to see their pictures and what they're, doing. And I still love to post my own things because we've had this discussion before, at least Jody and I have, that's like the new scrapbook, right? Like that's the new way of keeping memories in my head and having them show up every year. And posting them really is just an effective way of doing that. So sometimes I just put things out there and I'm like, okay, if only, 10 people see it, that's cool. I'm doing it for myself. I want, those things to show up. But when it comes to the mom guilt, I also have started to release that too. And that's what I wanted to tell you, Hope, that it is real when they're small. And it just, like, as they grow, you just kind of start to go, because like my son loves video games. And again, he's the freshman in high school. However, he is so busy. He's sometimes at school for 12 hours and then he wants to come home and spend 3 hours on his video games. I'm like, that's cool, because that's his hobby, right? Like that's what he enjoys. That's how he wants to spend his time. If I made him get off, it would just stress him out. And then he would be in my face and he'd be annoying and he'd be, and I'm not saying that's the answer to annoying children. Okay. But
Yeah.
I'm just acknowledging that at some point in time, it is a little bit, it's their let go, right? It's their release after the end of a long day. And yes, it gets extreme in the summer, but we try to balance it with getting outside and, doing those things. But I do worry less about it during these busy school years, that they have, because they have a lot of years ahead of them to be stressed and to work all the day long.
Now, Heather, you talked that you got a freshman, and we were talking about TikTok earlier. So, a social platform of TikTok, are you worried about that at all?
Of everything that they do on social media, that is the one that sucks the most of their time, energy, all of that. I mean, TikTok does the reports. And one day when they were off, Bianca, who's my seventh grader, my daughter, and she told me she spent like 6 or 7 hours on TikTok that day. I was like, oh my God, you like worked a full day all on TikTok. And of course I go, how is there that much interesting content on TikTok? But my husband is also mildly addicted to TikTok. And so I see him laying around because I don't have it either. And honestly, I don't want it because of that. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to get sucked in. But then he's sending me constant links. And I'm like, okay, now I have to watch these 4 TikTok videos so that I can laugh at the funny dog or the
Yeah.
silly thing that they do. So anyway, that was a really long answer in that, yes, they have it and it's too much. And I don't know how to break it. So we just kind of carry on and try to balance it.
Okay. Jody, what say you on that? Your children, you say, that are on it, and you downloaded it just because you needed it for a story. But do you secretly check out some of the videos if you're sitting in a waiting room at the doctor's office, like I got 5 minutes to kill, you're throwing on TikTok, I bet.
No, because I don't ever have AirPods with me, and I'm so scared to open anything on there because I hear my daughter open things, and all of a sudden there's a terrible, awful word that my grandmother rolls over in her grave when she hears. And no, I would never open that in a public space. When they send me things, I sometimes wander a little bit, but I quickly get bored. I would much rather read a book because I am that big of a nerd. And so I have 4 kids, and my oldest daughter I know is pretty active on TikTok. My son, pretty sure, never been on TikTok in his life. My 15-year-old spends probably too much time on TikTok, and we are in negotiations right now about the 13-year-old getting TikTok, and I am holding strong, but it's probably a losing battle, right? Because so much of it at that age is, but everybody is on it. Okay, that's a stupid argument, but I need to find the value, right? She's got a PowerPoint presentation that she has presented us with
Great
once.
video editors. All of these TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will hire them someday to
Yes.
edit video for us.
And the
That's
other
a great
thing that
point.
actually,
And maybe that's an argument for not letting them get TikTok, because you have to come work with your mom.
There you go. We'll take 'em.
Bianca also is really good at finding, like, she'll find recipes and crafts, and so she's actually she does pull some of the good from it. Don't tell Morgan that I said that, but you can.
Nope,
You can.
that's
She
our
can use
secret,
that.
Heather. I know there is a good side to it. I know there's good stuff on there. It just, she's my baby.
All right. Hope, what do you think of the TikTok universe? First of all, do you have it on your phone, and maybe your husband, maybe you both share videos?
I do not have it. My husband doesn't have it either. He's an anti-social media person all the way around. And I originally didn't have it because I worried about how much time it would suck out of my day, because I'm the kind of person at the end of the day, finally I'll open up Facebook and Instagram and there goes an hour and a half. I don't know what happened, but it just went, and it was wasted time in my life. There are some benefits to it. I do think it's a major de-stressor for me too, just as like you guys were saying. But ultimately I need to cut back. And then also I'm just watching the news about it. I'm just better be apprehensive about it for me personally than get sucked into it, I think. And then I think about with my kids, probably it's true that the world you don't know is scarier than the world you do know. But I'm thinking about, when do I start allowing social media accounts and stuff like that, which you guys I'm sure could speak to. I think if you strike some sort of balance of being together in person while giving them the freedom, the thing that makes them happy, the thing that makes them feel included, there's some sort of special balance there. But I just don't want to cross that bridge yet. I'm not ready for it.
Well,
Don't
I don't have
rush
it
it.
personally. Yeah, I don't personally have it, but I've been made aware of, and I think it made a news story where, are you familiar with the Kool-Aid challenge?
Yeah.
So this is where high schooler kids or young kids are running through white vinyl fences.
Like
Yes,
the
they're
Kool-Aid Man.
like the Kool-Aid
Sure,
man,
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and obviously causing a lot of damage for homeowners. But I thought that's actually kind of funny in a way that it's not eating Tide Pods, but yet it's still destruction
Well,
to property, but
but
it's still funny.
and TikTok has been blamed for like a lot of damage type challenges, like all those school bathroom ones, ripping things off the walls, and so yeah, it's not great when it comes to stuff like
Yeah.
that, because somebody puts it out there and then everyone just does it.
Yeah, absolutely. Copycat society. I know that we're running down here. Let's get one final. I did send this email out. I hope you got it. Now, if we'll start with you, Heather. If you wrote a book, what would it be about? What does Heather know, well, at least a lot about? And if you got a title for us, go ahead and share that.
I bet Jody and Hope could guess the one thing I know a lot about, but I wouldn't make my book about it. No. I thought to myself, it's a good thing you warned us, because my book would be called "Why I Love Wine."
I was
Okay. But I thought of it. Then I was like, okay, Heather, come up with something different. So I would call it something about like with the changes, move with your life, whatever, and then subtitle, don't fight the move. Okay, that's too much. But anyway, I just every major change in my life has oftentimes accompanied an actual physical move, right? So I moved from Ohio to North Dakota. I moved from North Dakota to Iowa. I moved from Iowa back to Ohio. And then now we're in Arizona. And moving is like one of the worst things you could do, right? It's so stressful, it's so expensive, it's so scary. I've gone through so many emotional roller coasters every time it's happened. But in the end, it's always been right for us. It's given us something that we didn't have before. It's changed our family. It's, my son was born in Iowa. He loves to say that he was born in Iowa. Like just these little things that nothing was a mistake. It all is meant to be. And if I didn't listen to those little callings telling me to pack up and go and spend all your money, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So that's my book.
That's an adventure for you. Your life has been an adventure because of that.
I mean, stressful, but an adventure, yes.
Heather, I think your second book should be How to Rent a Moving Van.
Right? I mean, you would think I'd be a good packer at this point in time, and I am not. I am the worst. Everything is done on the last day. It's this, into a box. No, maybe next time.
All right, Hope. If you wrote
to North Dakota.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Hope, if you wrote a book, what would that book be about? And if you got a title?
Okay, what do you guys think of this title? How to Do Too Much.
Yeah.
I think that's
You're an expert in that.
Yeah.
Doing too much, signing up for too much, taking on too much, saying yes to too much. I feel like that's where I'm at in my life right now. I am not in a place where I feel like I can give other people advice, but I'm introspective about all these things, and it constantly weighs on me whether I'm giving enough to my family, giving enough to friends, giving enough to coworkers. And someday I'm going to figure out a balance for some of this, but it is a work in progress. But along with all of that, it's always been hugely important to me to feel connected to the people and places around me. And so that is kind of what has motivated me to continue saying yes to taking on new things. And when I have some downtime, to try to fill it up with something else. I came here from California and I wanted badly to feel like this is my community. And so the bright side of doing a lot is that you get to meet a lot of people, you get to establish a lot of relationships, and you get to feel value for other people that way. So I'm a work in progress, but there's my book title.
All right. Well, Jody, I know that if I ask you this, if you wrote a book, this would be your second book, because I've got your first book on why I love chili.
I
And
don't know what I would name it.
yes.
Does anyone have any good ideas?
Exactly.
I have lots of books floating around in my head, you guys. And someday when I retire, I'm going to put them all on paper. But I think about things about sports and how those shape us and help us, and the importance of that. That's at the top of my list, just because of the stage of life that we're in at our house right now.
Sure.
I don't
Do you ever, Jody, do you ever share with your children how great you were at basketball back in the day?
No.
Especially when this time comes
just,
around?
My dad just shared a box of VHS tapes, and I'm scared to pull up the VCR. So I might need to screen that.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna need that for the 4 o'clock. Yeah, we're gonna need that.
I'm scared.
See the way Heather's eyes.
I mean,
oh no. All right. Well, we're going to take a short break here at KFYR Plus. Looks like we got cut off there. Little technical difficulty. And we'll return with your local news coming up next.